Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Renata Benardi and this is the Job Hunting Podcast where I give you tips, advice and interview experts to help you nail your next job and have the career that you want. This podcast is going live on Boxing Day, which in Australia and in many countries around the world is a good day to go shopping if you don't mind the crowds, if you like a bargain, or if you're like me. That is, you've been planning ahead and making a list of things you need and waiting for the sales to begin. This year, I'm on a lookout for a new webcam, a better mic, a laptop sleeve, and what else? Wine glasses. I also like to buy pillows at this time of the year. So very soon I'll be heading to the local shops, and I do shop a lot online as well. Not a lot. I'm not a big shopper actually, but this is the right time of the year to do some shopping. I thought it would be an appropriate time to check if there are any sales you can leverage from to purchase items or services to invest in your career in 2020, especially if you're job hunting. So in this podcast, we are going to look at 3 budgets from super low to maxed out, and I will let you know what I would recommend you can invest in. Before we begin, let me just say that if this is the type of content for you, don't forget to follow the Job Hunting Podcast. And if you are in the thick of it and you need extra support and accountability, please subscribe to my newsletter and follow me on Facebook and Instagram, where I post more regularly. I'm happy to ensure that you keep motivated and energized, especially throughout the holidays, as you pursue your career goals in 2020. You can find all of the links back to me in the episode show notes. Now, if you have been loving this podcast and listening for a while, thank you so much. I'm making them for you, be sure of that. And I'd appreciate if you could give me a podcast 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify. And if you have the time, also write a review. I'd really appreciate your generosity. And thank you so much for listening. Reviews and ratings get the podcast found by people just like you who need it. At this time of the year, people really need support if they're struggling with their job prospects or career progression. So it will be really helpful to them to find this podcast. Okay, so here it is. Let's begin by looking at the very low budget, up to a maximum of 500 Australian dollars. That's around $450 US at the time of that this podcast is going live, by the way. Note this, I have been on all 3 budget brackets and have been able to achieve a lot career-wise in all 3 budgets. So don't feel like if you have less money, your chances are lower. It doesn't really matter even at which level in your career you're in. You can make huge improvements just by investing at least a little bit of money as your job hunt. I've also made some very dumb investments. So this is based on my experience and is also what I'd use as an initial framework to work with my clients. But you have to adapt it to your specific circumstances, your sector, your age, country, and so on. So keep that in mind. Okay, so what would your best investments be? I will list a few options under each budget, as some of them you may already have. So in that case, you can pick and choose from the list what you still need, and these are my essential recommendations, okay? Okay, so up to 500 Australian dollars. First of all, I would recommend upgrading to Access LinkedIn Premium. That would be around 40 Australian dollars per month for you. And you will have a powerful additional, several additional features, including who's viewed your profile if they have not self-selected to be anonymous. And you have expanded and comprehensive list of people who have viewed your profiles. You also have job insights to see how you compare with other candidates applying for the job that is advertised on LinkedIn. You have salary insights. You have access to LinkedIn Learning. In the corporate sector, non-profit and government roles, there is no escape from LinkedIn. It is king and you should have a professional presence there. If you want to have a little bit of fun, go to my Facebook page and watch one of my earliest videos on the day I got kicked out of LinkedIn for about 10 hours and how freaked out I was. So you never want to be out of LinkedIn if you are in the corporate sector, in the non-profit sector, or in the government sector, okay? The premium features will be invaluable for your career advancement strategy for sure. As for the LinkedIn Learning features, I've spent many months in 2019 researching LinkedIn Learning and assessing its content, and my advice to you is be careful not to spend too much time studying endlessly instead of taking action. If you do the LinkedIn Learning modules, you don't necessarily have to add them to your LinkedIn profile. They will automatically suggest that you do, but depending on your career stage, it may not really sell you that well, but you should definitely have a look at what they have to offer. But for example, if you search job interview in the InLearning platform, it will spit out hundreds of mini trainings and videos you can watch, and it may overwhelm you. I don't want you to think I'm recommending the premium so that you spend hours learning and not doing. The good thing about LinkedIn Premium is all the insights and market intelligence that it can give you. But if you are on a budget, I prefer that you access the LinkedIn Learning modules and mini videos content to, let's say, going on the wild world of the interweb and sort of try to find best recommendations there. At least in the LinkedIn platform, these videos have been vetted. They went through a quality audit before making into the platform. So definitely a better way of learning in a hurry and if you have urgent needs. Okay, so moving on, still within that up to a 500 Australian dollars budget. You may want to invest in a great jacket or blazer, a bag and shoes to wear for your interviews and special networking events. So sometimes if we have been working for a long time within the same organization, we may have slacked just a tiny bit in our appearance. If your suits have seen better days, are too big or too small, and you don't have the budget to buy a good quality suit, don't buy a cheap one. Buy a blazer instead. I've done this at times when money was short and I would use an old gray pair of pants that was still good with a new black blazer, for example, and then a new tote bag or a sleeve bag for a laptop and matching belt and shoes, and I was ready to go. I find that cheaper shirts and blouses are okay because they're underneath your jacket. They're not as visible as a nice tailored blazer or suit. My favorite online shop for all of the above is Everlane. It's good for men and women. I actually don't think they do belts. I buy matching belts at Target actually. Other online shops I have used and they are all great for men and women are Banana Republic and Austin Reed in the UK. And I guarantee that they are all on sale as we speak. So check them out and I'll put their names and links on the show notes. The other thing you can do on a small budget is use an app like Eventbrite. There are other event apps that you can look at. And for example, in 2020, search for professional events in your local area. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of conferences, symposiums, lunches that you should sign up for and go. Many of them are free, some are very affordable. For example, the Melbourne Innovation Week events are free and very accessible. They happen all throughout the Melbourne CBD, and there are several lunches and events organized by organizations such as the Lean In chapters around the world, chambers of commerce, co-working spaces, and so on. And they would be around $30 to $50, sometimes a little bit more. but they are focused on specific sectors and topics. For example, customer experience, digital marketing, female leadership if it's a lean-in event. Some of them are more technical, like digital innovation, AI, change management. And you can learn, network, and socialize, get out of the house, especially if you are in between jobs. It's a really important thing to do. There may be job opportunities that you are made aware of during these events. For example, I recently spoke at a lean-in function in Melbourne. If you follow me only on LinkedIn, you will see lots of photos and videos about that event. It was very well covered. And it was hosted by an energy company called AGL. The event was free. It was really high quality, really well organized. AGL was an excellent host, and it announced at the event that it had several positions opened and invited the guests. I think we had over 200 people there, invited the guests to look at the jobs and apply and speak to the AGL people during the event. They were really proactively promoting those opportunities. So with a small budget, you will have to do a lot of the planning and the working in terms of your career development yourself. You will need to do a lot of self-learning, take great photos using your phone and put them on your LinkedIn profile. Follow the right people on LinkedIn who you would look up to, who are either your peers or people in your sector and profession, or even other sectors, but that you really admire their LinkedIn presence, the way that they network and that they've become social leaders, and apply some of that and adapt it in your own way to your own narrative and branding and communication as you job hunt. You also need to take very good care of yourself so that you perform at your very best when the time comes to meet with an employer or go through an interview. So use free mindful and meditation apps. Yes, these things do work. If you're still cynical, you really have to get in the zone and adapt some of these techniques, because they have shown great applications to reduce stress and help you become more focused and mindful, and also to help you relax. So I like Insight Timer to keep yourself relaxed. I have another one which I really like. It's expensive, so I'll add it to the show notes under the next bracket. I can't remember the name now. Oh, I think it's called Mindset. Yes, Mindset. It's a Melbourne-based team here from Monash University. They went through the Monash University Incubator, and they have a great app, and it has helped me so much this year. I'm not renewing it because I like to try different things, but I would totally recommend Mindset, which is expensive, not for this bracket, but I just remembered, so I decided to say it now before I forget. Other things that you can do on a budget is free yoga on YouTube. I love yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. Exercise your own way, whatever it is that you like to do. Catch up with friends and family, laugh a lot. If you're getting this podcast with my newsletter this week, you will see that I'm going to link a very good article that came out about laughing and smiling and how important it is to your mental health. So this is really helping you keep a positive mindset as you do your job hunting and career advancement. You see, it's a lot like an athletic competition. There is a lead up of years and months where, as an athlete, you're getting yourself trained and skilled and ready to perform. And then at short terms, you really need to work intensively before a competition. This is, a good analogy for you to use for yourself as you're job hunting at the moment, where you ramp up your efforts and your self-care to maximize your performance, right? You need to adopt this mindset for job hunting and for career progression. There's no point in doing a perfect resume and a perfect LinkedIn profile and then not sleeping before an interview, for example. And this is why I'm doing these weekly podcasts and sending my subscribers the weekly newsletter. It's to prepare you for career progression and to adopt a strategic mindset to enable your future plans to come to fruition. Finally, there is still time for you, if you're listening to this podcast before the 2nd of January, to do my free webinar called Reset Your Career webinar. It is free, so it's definitely good for this bracket. And I'm giving 5 actions that you can take for better results in 2020. And follow me on social media. Like I said, it's free. You can subscribe to my newsletter. All of these high quality career advice will certainly help you with accountability and give you that consistency and, help you succeed. That's what I'm here for. So I hope that you keep in touch and follow me with all the free content that I provide, especially with the Reset Your Career. I would recommend you check it out. There are, I think, 3 more to go before I stop doing that webinar for now. So moving on, with a budget of up to 1,500 Australian US dollars, I would recommend the following. So first of all of the above, of course, as they are the essential toolkit. You may be able to invest in a new suit if you are on that bracket, if it's time to get one, or this is the appropriate attire for your sector in terms of what to wear for a job interview. Then I would recommend that you invest in that. If it's not, please adapt this recommendation for your needs. For example, many years ago, I spent a year mentoring a lovely young professional who applied for a marketing job at L'Oreal here in Australia, Melbourne. They have a big office here, and she did get the job, by the way, and her pre-interview investment was not a suit. I remember that she had these killer heels that matched her L'Oreal shade of lipstick, and she was gorgeous and dressed for her sector. So this is what's important. If you have a bit of extra cash, pamper yourself with a budget for a before interview moment that you may need it. So for example, things like if you're a woman, you might want to have a before interview budget for a blow dry and nails. Regardless, you might want to invest in an Uber to get to your interview. I'm a big fan. I think I said this before, I'm a big fan of booking Ubers before interviews. Definitely because I live in a big town like Melbourne with a lot of traffic. These days, if you are in a big city like I am, driving into traffic for job interviews can be a total nightmare, and it may get you stressed and negatively affect your performance. So I would recommend either booking an Uber or, waking up earlier and using public transport. It's very reliable in Melbourne. Melbournians don't think it is, but I come from Brazil, so my perspective is really different, and I do trust the trains here to get me from A to B. So sometimes a mix of public transport and Uber might be a good solution, and you can use that time on the train or in the Uber to relax, do some meditation or read your notes and so on, instead of being driving. Driving can actually be quite stressful. You don't know this because you drive all the time, but it takes a lot of your brain energy to get you from A to B. For this bracket, I have created the Job Hunting Made Simple program, and it starts in January. And I created it because I think there is a gap in the market for job hunters that don't have a lot of money to splurge, but still need the investment to have coaching and supervision and a framework to use during this time when they're revamping their career. So in January, I will be launching Job Hunting Made Simple, which is a 7-week step-by-step online course and coaching program that gets you from planning to being action ready. It is a complete blueprint for creating a prosperous career. It's aligning values and attracting your next job rather than pursuing, and sort of being overwhelmed by the whole job hunting pursuit. I designed Job Hunting Made Simple for this budget bracket. As I said, the program is cost effective in that way. It's very high quality. It provides a framework to make sense of all of the options out there and all of the opportunities and steps ahead in a way that is intentional, it's inspiring, and most of all, it's simple. It is perfect for people who are serious about the future of their career progression, but unsure about how to achieve their goals. They're in between jobs and not knowing if they're putting their time and effort into the right strategy, so they're confused. They're returning to work after an extended break, not knowing how the market will perceive them. Or they might be ready to look for new opportunities, but they just can't find the time or the focus to do it. So in that way, it is intentional, inspiring, and really simple. If you, however, are already in the tail end of the process of job applications, you may want to invest instead in someone who can spend a couple of hours helping you prepare for a job interview, like a boardroom style presentation, for example, or spending time with you, helping you negotiate your salary package, deciding between two job offers, and so on. So making those strategic decisions whilst applying for internal promotions can also be something that a coach can help you with. I find it surprising that people don't think of that investment, because if you're negotiating your salary package and you're paying, let's say, $300, $400 for somebody to support you in making the best decision for you, that might be extra $1,000 in your pocket. So also helping you between two job offers, and I'm giving you these examples because these are real opportunities that I have helped clients with. And if you're brainstorming with somebody, the pros and cons of different options, that can make a huge impact in the future of your career. So have a look at some of my testimonials on my website, and you will see how I have helped people in the past, previous clients in the past, and have a look at how that can be really, really good for the future of your career. You may want to access a professional for those situations. In this case, go to my website, check the private one-on-one sessions that I do. I have clients that have reinvested in those private sessions as they go along the steps. They just prefer it. They're in the thick of it. They're really involved with specific job applications, and in that case, the job hunting made simple is too late for them. Certainly these days, we are pretty confident, and if you have read Thinking Fast and Slow, which is a very sort of popular book out there, or any recent behavioral science study and on decision making, we know that making decisions as a team is the best way to go. I'll do more podcasts on these topics in the future, but for now, I think you get the picture of what I'm trying to say. So yes, possibly budgeting for 2 to 3 coaching sessions, 3 coaching sessions being the same price as the Job Hunting Made Simple. In fact, no, the Job Hunting Made Simple is cheaper. But like I said, depending on the stage that you're in, you might want to look at what's the best investment for you. Okay, so now let's talk about the up to 3,000 budget. Again, all of the above. Everything that I said before is definitely something you should consider if you have up to $3,000 to invest in your job hunting strategy. But I would also include having a budget to attend paid networking events starting February. Don't do anything before that, but starting February, networking events. Now there is a difference between the ones I've proposed before, which are cheaper, available in Eventbrite and other event platforms, and the ones that I'm proposing here. I'm suggesting here that you attend thought leadership events where decision makers are present. These are people who may be potential employers and can be looking for talent. In Australia, I would suggest CEDA's State of the State addresses, the Chartered Accountant CEO forums, or events organized by the Chambers of Commerce. I specifically like the British Chamber of Commerce, the Australian British Chamber of Commerce, the Australian German Chamber of Commerce does really good events where senior executives and decision makers attend. American chambers, you need to choose wisely. Some of their bigger events are for more junior rising stars, but they have some very interesting events where more senior decision makers attend. And also be careful with conferences. You may want to invest in events where you are learning, of course, but that offer great opportunity for you to network and expand your circle of influence. And conferences may be a good place for you to meet your peers. And that's great, but they may not have the authority to hire you. So keep that in mind and use your budget wisely. For example, I love Simon Sinek, but I wouldn't spend $800 to see him speak for a day. Because frankly, I can spend a day watching him on YouTube and learn everything I can from him. It's unlikely the event where Simon Sinek is speaking for a whole day, which will be attended by 1,000 to 2,000 people here in Melbourne. It's unlikely that it would be useful for your career advancement. But attending a $200 CEDA breakfast on digital marketing, if you are a marketing professional, so I'm using this as an example, may yield better results for you. You will be having breakfast on a table with 8 to 10 people. You will be exchanging business cards. Then you will be connecting with these people on LinkedIn, including the CEDA speaker and the CEDA staff, and they will be your connections for life. So depending on your sector, lifestyle, or where you live, the above recommendation may not suit you. You can then do what Christine has done and find yourself a coach that can work with you for a 3-month period. So Christine was my first online client, and her testimonial is on my website. This is what most executives and leadership and career coaches love to do. So as a coach, we love to work with clients over a 3-month period, because 3 months gives us enough time as a team to really help you progress and for you to see real changes in your career, in your leadership style, and so on. You can check my offering on my website. But if you believe you have a very specific request, I'd be happy to help you find a great coach for you. For example, I know people who coach school teachers to become principals, or they coach senior associates to become partners in law firms, and change managers who are elevated to enterprise-wide transformation roles, and they may need a coach for that as well. And the people that I'm thinking of top of my head, they all work online. So, for example, this friend of mine who coaches school teachers to become principals, she has done the work here in Australia, she has done the work in Canada. So wherever you are, they can do online coaching for you. And it's very good to have those specific people helping you because they have the expertise. And I know quite a lot of them. But of course, you may know them as well, and you might think maybe it's now a good time for you to invest in that. If money is not an issue, how long is a piece of string? So getting ongoing coaching support, like many senior executives do, by the way. So I have a very good friend. He's been a good friend of mine for over 2 decades, and he is an executive coach for C-level people, usually in the banking sector here in Australia, telcos, mining and energy sector, and he coaches people on a retainer, for a long time. So and they don't tell anybody that they've been coached by my friend, which doesn't help him get new clients, does it? But he is a fantastic coach, and the leaders that are coached by him are empathetic, wonderful leaders. I know many of them, and I can see the difference it has made, not only in their leadership style, but in the business that they lead. You can see a total shift in the cultural makeup of the organization when a C-level executive has a coach. And I've seen him coach people that are looking for work as well over the years, and he's one of my biggest supporters with this project. So there you go. I've also many years ago, over 10 years ago, invested in a very well done resume for myself. I believe, I can't find the receipts, but I believe I paid almost 2,000 Australian dollars for that. It was a very tailored resume work. It took us a couple of weeks to do. The wonderful person who did it, unfortunately isn't doing that job anymore. She has a full-time job now with Melbourne Business School, but she did a fantastic job on my resume, and I've used that resume over and over again for many years. And it was expensive. It's not one of those $200 resume templates that you do on an Airtasker or freelancer.com. When I work with clients on short-term retainers, which is what I do here in Melbourne or online, I do work on their resumes as well. I think resumes are really important, but I think most importantly, your LinkedIn profile needs to be spot on. Another splurge for people with a big budget would be to do a haircut and photo shoot. And this can be done on the cheap, actually. I've seen good photos taken by people from Airtasker, freelancer.com, Upwork, and I've also found that Airbnb Experience has great photographers there, and you can have some interesting photos done that wouldn't cost a fortune. But it's nice to have somebody like Kerry Gravina here in Melbourne. She does haircut and photo shoots. So you go there, you get your hair done, and she takes a photo of you. It's a great package. My photos that you see everywhere, I did them on the photo studio here in Melbourne. It's a fantastic place to go for a photo shoot. They treat you like superstar and make you feel super comfortable if you're like me and very awkward taking photos, and I think it's worth the investment. So the photo studio in Melbourne is where I took my photos. That's it for now, job hunters. It was a pleasure spending time sharing these recommendations with you, and I hope you enjoy your Boxing Day, shopping or not. If you decide to stay home and save yourself some money, good for you. But keep investing in your career and in your dreams, and know that I'm here for you, and let's make it happen in 2020. Happy New Year, and we'll talk again in January. Bye for now.